The 80s gave us plenty of masterpieces in the action, thriller, and sci-fi genres. From Die Hard to Beverly Hills Cop, from Ghostbusters to Rambo, from Aliens to The Terminator. The popularity of these movies hasn't faded over time, but some weren't so lucky. Today we're revisiting a few that were once popular, but faded into obscurity after the VHS tapes in our living rooms disappeared. The early 80s in the United States marked a new chapter in the Cold War with the Soviet Union, which quickly found its way into cinema. A prime example is the action film Red Dawn, set in an alternate 1980s where the United States is invaded by the Soviet Union and its Central American allies. American high school students resist the occupation using guerrilla tactics, calling themselves Wolverines, after their school mascot. The movie, though somewhat over the top, captured the attention of audiences at the time, especially younger viewers. Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, and Leah Thompson starred as brave young resistance fighters taking a stand against the Red Invaders. Another attempt to conquer America came in Invasion U.S.A., where Cuban guerrillas, led by a Soviet officer, launch a full-scale assault on U.S. soil. But this time, they're not up against high school students. Standing in their way is a former CIA operative with first-hand knowledge of Soviet tactics abroad. And of course, he's played by none other than Chuck Norris. With Norris in the lead, it's no surprise that when his character tells his Soviet and Cuban enemies, "It's time to die," it sounds like an absolute death sentence. The film flopped at the box office, but over time it found a place in the "so bad it's good" category. And without a doubt, this film is the most Chuck Norris has ever noticed. With so many action films starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and Michael Dudikoff, it's easy to forget about The Last Dragon, a martial arts comedy that many at the time saw as a parody of the genre. But this film stands out for breaking stereotypes. The main hero isn't Asian or even white, but a black athlete. Actor and martial artist Tai Mok, who holds a black belt in karate, brings real skill to the role. The movie also features a surprisingly engaging romantic subplot and at times even turns into a full-blown musical. One of the most unexpected kung fu films of its era. Directed by Robert Mandel, this thriller was one of the standout films of its time, and if audiences revisited it today, they'd find it still holds up. The story follows a Hollywood special effects artist hired by federal agents to stage the fake assassination of a gangster set to testify against the mob. But the setup turns out to be a trap, just not for him. Using his skills in movie magic, he takes on a web of corrupt cops, a clever, action-packed film that was ahead of its time. Sylvester Stallone has played plenty of iconic roles, and Lieutenant Marion "Cobra" Cobretti, with his signature matchstick in the corner of his mouth, is one of them. This was Stallone's second collaboration with director George Cosmatos after Rambo: First Blood Part 2. Critics dismissed it as shallow and formulaic, but audiences loved watching Stallone face off against Brian Thompson's ruthless villain. And let's not forget Cobra's insanely cool car. Of course, the real highlight, that unforgettable finale, when the bad guy gets impaled on a hook and sent straight into a blazing furnace. Now that's how you make an action movie. John Carpenter is mostly known for his work in science fiction and horror, but his filmography also includes plenty of action and even comedy. Big Trouble in Little China blends genres, so viewers can interpret it however they like, but we'd classify it as a fun action adventure. Kurt Russell stars as the hero, who battles a sorcerer and his minions to save the world from destruction. The film became a VHS hit and spawned a whole franchise, including video games, comics, and collectible figures. The plot of a cop transporting a criminal while facing obstacles has become a cinematic cliché, appearing in dozens of films of varying quality. Midnight Run is far from the worst of them, mainly thanks to the fantastic duo of actors, Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. Jack Walsh is a tough ex-cop turned bounty hunter. Jonathan the Duke Mardukas is a sensitive accountant who embezzled $15 million from the mob, gave it to charity, and then jumped bail. Jack stands to make a cool $100,000 if he can deliver the Duke from New York to LA on time and alive. Sounds like just another midnight run, a piece of cake in bounty hunter slang, but it turns into a cross-country chase. The FBI is after the Duke to testify. The mob is after him for revenge, and Walsh is after him to just shut up. If someone else doesn't do the job, the two unlikely partners may end up killing each other in this hilarious, action-filled blockbuster. Patrick Swayze became known to melodrama lovers after Ghost and to action fans after Point Break. But for true movie buffs, his talent was revealed much earlier in Dirty Dancing and Roadhouse. The film tells the story of a bouncer with a strong sense of justice. Refusing to tolerate the violence and cruelty in a small town, Swayze's character takes matters into his own hands, confronting local gangs and corrupt bar owners. The simplicity and unpretentiousness of the film's confrontations have their own charm, even if they seem a bit naive today.